see me?
We can see you.
All right. I did my hair, especially for this new style.
Did you get a blowout?
Oh yeah, I did. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what that is, but I had like 3 or whatever they are, 4 of them. So I don't know what.
Looks great.
I don't know hair terminology. Surprise. All right. So all right. Well, it looks like we have people still joining. Well, let's give it a couple of minutes and then we will get started.
Can everybody see my screen with the Pet Business Guide to Surviving the Coronavirus Pandemic? That initial slide. You can see that?
I can see a dog with glasses.
Perfect.
Okay, well, I think, what time is it? Well, it's 11:02. We'll give it like a few more minutes. I know people are getting used to and accustomed to this, so now question and answers on. I'm going to try to answer one. Here we are. Not bad. All right. We are all becoming so virtual. So we have about 29 to 30 login or registrants, and I'm getting some emails from people saying they are having trouble logging in. So, or having trouble getting Zoom to connect. So I am going to respond to these folks live right here on the internet. Let's see, try to get them into the webinar. And another one. So let me try and just turn this off for 1 minute. So we appreciate everyone's patience. I'm gonna live, I can invite people as we're going here. So as people are kind of asking on email about it, I will invite them to it. Seems like people are having a little bit of trouble. Katie, do you have anything interesting to say while I'm doing this?
Don't put me on the spot like that.
Interesting to say. So here, okay, so I'm inviting some of the folks that are having trouble logging in to just right here, get them into the webinar.
Yeah, I mean, it's all a learning curve for a lot of us. I mean, this is our first webinar, and you know, one of the first points we were going to make here is to, you know, don't be afraid to make mistakes, to try new things. You know, the first time you're doing something, it's not going to be perfect. So, you know, definitely don't be afraid to try new things here.
And I think that there is a definite two sides of any of these, particularly if you're doing them with your own clients or vendors. They obviously, you have your end, and then you have the other end of the spectrum, which is the capabilities of the person that you're going to do a virtual training with or a video meeting or conference with. So that's something that, you know, we're looking at kind of right here in the sense that people are having trouble accessing or downloading Zoom. So, and it could be even as simple as the whole Zoom system is probably overwhelmed with users right now too. So that could be a little bit of it. But I'm getting people invited, so it'll be just a moment. And I think this is definitely part of it.
What kind of businesses do we have joining us today? I know I saw like a dog trainer and some retail shops. If you want to, I can't see it, but I think William can see where if you hit chat.
Yeah, I can see a few, and I'm still inviting people to join.
So if you don't mind telling us what kind of business you're with, maybe where you're from.
And if you don't have audio, you can type that, and it looks like we've got a little of that happening, so that's good. Let's see. There should be a live chat option. that you can bring up, which is the Zoom webinar chat. Just everyone see that. I'm going to message everyone from it. And then I'm going to pop the invitation link into our Facebook group too. Try to get it to people who registered as well. Did anyone get that live chat? I said hello. Okay, so we have Diane. She is with a pet food boutique in Dallastown, Pennsylvania.
Okay. Yeah, I know a lot of retail shops are hit hard with people needing to stay home. So we'll have some good information for you there.
Discussion on Facebook here. A couple of messages that I am not coming across clearly, but that you are. So now it's better. Okay, that's all right. Okay. I just sent the invitation to about 6 people who are emailing and saying they're having a little trouble getting access. So hopefully we will see them pop on here, and then we'll just get started.
Well, and the good news is everybody will have access to video after this as well. So if they pop in later, they can watch the video from the beginning.
Okay, and another one. Now what I'm seeing are people saying that they're having a little trouble getting into the Zoom platform. So, okay, now I think people are starting to get in there. Okay. So I will tell a little bit about some of the technology that is out there right now. Zoom is one of the more well-known for video conferencing and meetings, and a lot of it has to do with the size of the group that you're going to be speaking to through your webinar. Now they have obviously conferences, meetings, so if it's just you and one client, that's more of a one-on-one. And a meeting, if you're going to do a webinar, that is a premium feature that you can have 100 seats or 500 seats. And generally speaking, you won't need that unless you're planning to host a larger webinar, but the platform is still essentially the same. But there are other alternatives as well. Yesterday, we did a Google Hangouts meeting with someone else, and that was a little confusing actually as well, because that required a call-in as opposed to the Google Hangouts platform. So I think there is a learning curve on a lot of these really, but this one we are going to get fixed here in just a second. Okay. And I'm just gonna probably put the meeting code also on Facebook. It seems like a lot of people didn't get that meeting code, and I think that's part of it. Here we go. So now we've got some more people coming in. Hello and welcome. We're getting this invitation issue fixed. Everyone can still hear me? Katie, you can hear me?
I can hear you.
All right. Strange. I'm just talking to a screen. I do that a lot, but generally not on a webinar. I'm just talking to my computer. Of course, now everyone will have Zoom all downloaded. Okay. I mean, we're all at home, so I guess it's okay. This is a good, you're looking for ways to pass the time. I think watching us invite people to the webinars probably ranks up pretty high with Netflix and other. Here we go. Okay. So what I'm doing, since you'll probably be doing this yourself in some way, is some people did not get the meeting code, and other people are having some trouble with the platform. So while I'm speaking to you, at the bottom of the screen, there is an invite where you can invite people to the webinar in progress. So I am individually bringing people in that are having trouble accessing the platform. There we go. And okay. All right, now we go. I've got. All right. And a few more people coming on. Thank you all for your patience. Katie, do you have a story to tell or anything like that? No, I'm putting you on the spot.
Not that I can think of right now.
Oh, well, that's okay. Well, we'll need to make a note, and this is something everyone can take note of. Have like a story available to kill time while you're dealing with technical issues.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, a really good one. So let's put that. If we could redo the presentation right now, I think we could add that to the tips. All right. Now I'm just going to pop this up on here.
I mean, I could give you a little background about, what we're doing here. I mean, us ourselves, we were, we produced events for 10 years since 2009, so going on 11. And obviously right now events aren't exactly, we can't produce any right now. But we've been doing marketing for 10 years. William has been doing it for a lot longer than that. So that's why we have completely changed into helping others just like you guys to, surviving this. The pet industry we always thought was recession proof, but this is not something we ever anticipated. Not being able to go out. Most people are home, so they don't need pet sitters. They're not, they don't need boarding facilities. They're trying to stay out of stores. So, we're just having to shift to, virtual as best as we can.
And some of that is, we had an issue as an organization back in 2017 with a CPA that we hired. It really caused us a lot of trouble. We came very close to having to close, and we're still feeling some of the repercussions from that. But what we learned from that is a lot of ways to innovate and kind of find new ways to do things and adapt to situations that are out of your control. And right now, we're all dealing with a situation that we absolutely cannot control and is changing on a daily basis. So we have a lot of resources that we have built up over the last 10 years. Email marketing software, contact lists for pet lovers in a lot of major cities. Our social media, we really grabbed onto social media early. So we have active followers of 10,000 or more on a lot of our city pages. So it's a good way for us now that we all need to kind of reach out to pet parents where they are. We have a lot of access to that. So we really want to kind of share as much of that as possible. And we as an organization became very, very comfortable with the digital and online marketing aspects of things early, where a lot of businesses are still looking at it as a secondary avenue. And right now, it's going to become everyone's primary avenue. So, getting ahead of that curve while everyone else is also on that learning curve is kind of the goal of this webinar, and then anything that we can do moving forward as well. So I still see a few people coming in, and then I think, Katie, I'll send this out to everyone one more time, and then I think we'll need to go ahead and get started.
Okay, sounds good.
That's a good suggestion, Sharon. Thank you. Sending a text reminder. And we do have some SMS marketing tools, so we will look at a way to integrate that into reminding people about the webinar, and that's a good point. So thank you for that. And I'm going to pop this up here. Okay. All right. So, Mark, looks like you're connected. That's okay. We are we're really delayed, Ethan. So we're gonna get started now. You're you didn't miss anything because we had some issues with getting some folks into it. We're running really behind. Katie's gonna talk super fast. And let's see. All right. Super fast. All right, I have sent this to everyone that I think I can, so hopefully people will get in, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on it as we go. So let me get back into the meeting here. I'm turning the video back on. I know most people are in this to probably say, like, what does that guy look like? We get his emails. So here I am. Hold on. No, it's not. Here we go. All right. Okay, so hi everyone, and welcome. Sorry for the delay. We'll be bringing some people in as we go. My name is William, and I am with Pet Event Professionals, Pet Events Inc. We produce pet expos all across the United States, and we have since 2009. We've produced 250, and the event industry disappeared a few days ago, so we are working to try to take as many of the resources that we have and share them with pet businesses, and that's who our primary vendors have been all of these years. And you know, when this is all over, hopefully you'll still need events and we'll still need vendors, and you know, I think it's in everyone's interest to help however we can. So we have a lot of tools that we have acquired, accumulated, and used over the years that we want to make as open as possible to everyone. So what we're doing with this is just kind of giving you some basic tips and starter points, but we're happy to work with you individually as well and see what we can come up with to help you kind of get through this. I know a lot of people are converting to virtual tools, and some of that can be a challenge. And as you've seen, sometimes it's just the technology itself. So it's a bit of a learning curve for all of us. Now, Katie, she has been in the pet industry with us and her own marketing company, Max Pet. Look, there it is, Max Pet Marketing, and she says a lot of really good things, and there's one of them. And it will take a lot of hard work and resilience and changing possibly your identity. So it is time to adapt. We have no real choice but to do so. And that's a little bit more of what we will talk about today. So I'm going to turn things over to Katie. Then I'm going to pop back in, I think, when we get to press releases. Is that right, Katie?
Yep, that's what I.
Yep. And
I hope so, because you're the better. You definitely do those a lot better than I do.
Yeah, well, I mean, all of this I do better than you. I didn't want to say that.
Well, true.
No. Okay. So
I learned from him, so.
I'm going to turn things over to you to get this started, and then I will answer questions as they come through, and then I'll pop back when it's my turn. So, all right. So, Katie, here you go.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, everyone, for your patience. You know, this is definitely a learning curve, like I said, for everyone, including us. You know, this is our first webinar, so we had some technical difficulties, and we also wanted to make sure that anyone else who is also having technical difficulties could join us, so they wouldn't miss out on anything. Now, you do also have access to the video afterwards. We'll send that link out. So, but I do have a lot of really good information that I want to cover here that it's really valuable. So I'm going to try and go fast so we don't go too far over, but also leave plenty of time for questions and answers at the end. So already kind of covered this with our whole delay here, but don't be afraid to try new things. When we're doing business while social distancing, especially if you're used to working one-on-one with people as a dog trainer, or, you know, you're a retail shop, you're used to people coming in, you know, pet sitters right now, everybody's at home. Dogs are super happy because their owners are home all day long. I know my dog is so excited that yesterday he kind of sprained his paw a little bit. He's better today, but you know, he's just super ecstatic that we're home 24/7 right now. But yes, don't be afraid to try new things, to maybe have some issues when you are doing those new things. So kind of an overview of what we'll talk about. Doing online sales. A lot of people have relied on events in order to do that and do face-to-face sales. You can do those through e-commerce websites. I definitely always recommend to have at least an e-commerce website, and then also have like Etsy if you hand make your products. You can use Amazon. I did hear that Amazon is they're not bringing anything into their warehouse as far as fulfillment goes, unless it's like household items that are kind of essential to the time right now. They're prioritizing those things, but I think you can still have it online and fulfill it yourself. And then there's also, of course, Facebook and Instagram. Now I'll hit on this again, but Facebook and Instagram, you don't own those platforms. They change at any time. Facebook has done it before where they told everybody to have a fan page, have your customers go and like your page. And then suddenly you couldn't reach those people. You had to do ads to reach them. So there's a reason why we want to have an e-commerce website if you're selling products online. You can also do online courses. This is great. Obviously, dog trainers can really benefit from doing online courses. It's also a great way that even after this is all done, to have some passive income. You can reach people that are not just in your city, but also all across, the U.S. and even across the world. And then webinars, just like we're doing here. It's a great way to engage live with your audience. Some people don't do their webinars live. I always recommend it because you're engaging right there, and you can answer questions right there on the spot. People tend to stay in your webinar for longer if they know that you are live. And then another thing that you can do is gift certificates. So I see this a lot on online right now that people are offering steep discounts if they go ahead and get a gift certificate. People are really wanting to support local. They understand, that the local and small businesses are really suffering right now. So don't be afraid to tell people, this is helpful to get us through this. We'll give you a discounted rate now that you can use once this is all over. Marketing opportunities. So I kind of hate using the word opportunities right now because it's not like we're taking advantage of the situation. We're just trying to, adapt and help people the best that we can. But a couple of things that you can do, and we'll dive deeper into each one of these. But as an overview, we can do, goodwill services and offers. You can make sure that your website is high converting. And there's also landing pages. For those of you who are not familiar with landing pages, they are used in marketing a lot to drive traffic. They are very specific to one purpose, and that is to convert to a lead or to a sale. Email marketing. Email marketing is the highest return on your investment of any marketing channel. So that's something that you really want to pay attention to. Collecting email addresses through your website, through your social media, and so forth. There's also Facebook, there's Instagram we'll go over more in detail, press releases that William had mentioned. So let's go ahead and dive deeper into each one of those things. Here's some ideas for goodwill services and offers. But first, why do we offer these? One, it shows that you care. You're not taking advantage of this situation. We really, truly want to help people get through the pandemic. And it shows that you care about them. It creates a sense of community. And it also provides some positive brand recognition. So it gets your name out into the community, creates that sense of community, and people will recognize you for that. One thing that you can offer especially if you're like a retailer or, even if not, you can offer free local deliveries for the elderly and immunocompromised, porch deliveries. You can offer steep discounts on your products to get people intrigued. We're all in a financial situation here as well, not just businesses, but a lot of people are laid off. or just not working. YouTube videos are a great way to share your knowledge on pet ownership, not just dog trainers, but also, you know, if you're a pet sitter, you know, do you know CPR for pets? Do you know pet first aid? Do you know what's the best way to get a dog to take his medication? You know, anything along those lines, using YouTube videos, sharing those with people while they're at home with their pets, it'd be a perfect time to do that. Let's see, so collecting donations for rescue organizations, that's another way that you can kind of create that sense of community and build some positive brand recognition. Right now, from what I understand, a lot of rescues are struggling. I know the one, I know somebody who works at one here locally, and they're trying their best to social distance, but they've got to be there for the dogs, you know, so they're kind of working 1 week on, 1 week off, and kind of really struggling with that right now. All right, so some website tips. So a lot of people, since you're relying more on being digital, you want to make sure that your website is top notch, right, in converting. Your website is the cornerstone of all your digital marketing. So this is where a lot of people are going to search for you. They're going to find you. They're going to see your website. You're going to drive a lot of your marketing to your website. So you want to make sure that it is high converting and it's really communicating what you do for your customer. When people land on your website, they should know exactly what you do without scrolling. So don't make them search for what you do. Tell them exactly what you do right there on the top part. It's called above the fold. You want to make sure that they know exactly what you do without having to scroll and go through your entire website, because they won't. They'll bounce right away. Here's one thing that I see often is that the homepage will send people away from their website and send them to social media. Again, you don't own social media. They can make changes. I think recently Instagram made a big change where you're not reaching as many people. Facebook has done it before, where you just can't get as much engagement as you used to. You're not getting as much traction. So that's why you want to make sure not to send people to your social media, to do it the other way around. Send people from social media to your website. You want to make it obvious what you want people to do when they get to your site. Do you want them to contact you about a consultation? Do you want them to purchase a specific product? Are you running a sale and you want people to purchase that? Make it really obvious what you want people to do, because again, they're not going to search. People are impatient, even though we have plenty of time right now to do whatever. You want to make sure that that people know exactly what to do when they get to your site. You kind of want to guide them through that. And here's another thing too. A lot of websites I see are more about themselves rather than what they can do for their customers. So we're all pretty selfish when it comes to buying products and services. We want to know what we're going to get out of it, right? We want to know that it's going to be worth it. And we want to have that, oh my gosh, I absolutely have to have this type of reaction, right? So your content should be about what your customer gets out of your product or service, and that includes your About Us page. So definitely, once this is over, take a look at your website and reevaluate it. Does it offer your customer information about what you can do for them, or is it all about you and what you do and your history and all this? Now, it's not a terrible thing to put in your history and what you do, but you still want to make that like you do this because your customer gets this out of it. And then you also want to use a pop-up to collect email addresses. I know a lot of people hesitate from this. They say, well, I don't like spam myself. So I don't want to send emails, but that's a terrible way to look at it. You have an awesome product, you have an awesome service that people want. If they sign up for your email list, they want to hear from you. So, and I'll go over more about email marketing here shortly.
And now, Katie, do you mind if I pop
Yes.
in real quick?
No, not at all.
So on that note, that's the hardest thing over the course of the 250 plus events that we have produced. The hardest thing that we have always had trouble getting across to people is collect information. And it's not impossible, it's not hard, but it is something that people tend to shy away from doing. So for instance, if you're at an event and you don't collect contact information from as many people as possible, then you've limited yourself to only the people that you met that day. Now let's take that out further and look at all the different ways that you should be collecting information to contact people. Right now in your email box is probably a lot of past contact information. You should be compiling those contacts, even if it's someone that did not do business with you at that time, but could potentially. You should be putting that into a contact list, into a database. There should be an incentive on your website to get people to sign up for your website, to sign up for your newsletter, and to provide that contact information. The most important thing right now is going to be data, and what do you have as far as data and able to reach people with your message. One of the things that we've been suggesting to some businesses that literally are not able to sell their product or services right now is to offer vouchers at a discounted rate that they can purchase now. Your clients can purchase those now and use them when this is over to utilize your services, and it's at a much lower rate than they would be paying right now. And how do you tell people about that? You would need to have everyone in a database, in an email marketing system or software program, or a mass text program, SMS marketing. So you would need phone numbers, you would need emails, and generally speaking, if you're doing business with them or have a pre-existing business relationship of some type, you're okay to email to them. However, you'll need to have some kind of lead capture on your website, on your social media. That is how you get people to lock in and sign up so you can contact them with information when you need to. So if you need assistance with that, we can help you. But just collect information, and then think about where you have that information now. Is it in QuickBooks? Is it in your email account? Is it in your sent folder? Where are your contacts now if you don't have them in one centralized database? Where are they? Are they on invoices? Where do you have all of your customers' information or previous clients' information or potential clients' information, and then put those into a database? If you're going to use a email marketing program, you can create lists. These are people who you've done business with. Here's a list of potential prospects, then you can send to all of them, you can send to some of them. But right now, targeting your message, reaching people with exactly what your offer is, that's the most important thing that you can do moving forward. So I just wanted to jump in on that, Katie, and I'll hand it back to you.
No, and I'm glad that you did, because it's absolutely true, and I can't stress it enough. I stress it almost every phone call when we were doing events and getting people registered. When people are new and they're asking how to be successful at the event, my first answer is collect contact information. It doesn't matter what your booth looks like. If and it is great, of course, to have a good looking booth, but if you're not collecting email addresses, you're missing out on a huge opportunity. And that goes for online marketing as well. It's something that I stress all of the time. So that's why I have a whole section on email marketing. And again, I said this before, the best return of your investment of any marketing channel is email marketing. I can't tell you how many times I've gotten, and William can attest to this, but I've been getting your email updates for over a year, you know, sometimes 2 or 3 years. And now I'm just finally reaching out. I'm interested in looking for a booth. So it does work. It does take time sometimes. And I will tell you, I've never had anyone on social media say, I've reached out, you know, I've been following you on social media for a couple of years and just now reaching out. That doesn't happen. If they don't engage with your page, they're not going to get the update. So email marketing, that's why it is the best thing and the most important thing that you can do right now. And it's the thing that I can't stress enough. Again, you're not spam. If they signed up for your list, they want and they expect to hear from you. You have a great product, you have a great service. So there's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be reaching out via email. It's the only marketing channel that you own. Again, social media changes all the time with who you reach. You know, so your main objective after getting the actual sale should be to at least collect the contact information so you can stay in touch with people and keep them updated on what you have going on with your business, different offers and different things that you're doing in your company. So that's why you want to use your website and your social media to collect email addresses. I did like the tip that William just gave, which was to go back in your contacts and make sure to compile those lists if you don't already have them in one place. If they're, you know, in your sent folder or what have you, make sure to put them all in one place. And I apologize if I get out of breath. I am 39 weeks pregnant. I'm not sick, but this little guy is kind of taking up a lot of my lung space.
You're 39 weeks pregnant. Tell us this?
I forgot to tell you.
Okay.
If you didn't notice the bowling ball under my shirt. I tend to talk fast anyway, so it's hard for me to kind of slow down and catch my breath. But so repetition is key in marketing. And again, since email marketing is the only platform that you really own yourself, it's the only way you can really make sure you're continually updating people. And then you can combine that also with social media. And it's also a great way to create raving fans. Let them know what you're doing. Let them know what you're doing with the community, especially in times like this. Let them know how you can help them. And it also keeps your fans updated.
And you're about to get into Facebook marketing, so I can.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'll wait, and then I'll kind of tie back. I have something that will tie the email marketing and the Facebook marketing. So go ahead.
Oh, okay, perfect. So there's different opportunities on Facebook. You can do, as you know, you can do ads. You can use it, and you should use it to build your mailing list. That kind of came up out of order, so we're going back to ads. The ads, the great thing about ads is you can target your audience. And one thing I didn't really go over in this is that your audience is not every single pet owner out there. It's not every single person who owns a dog. What is the age range? If you try and talk to everyone that owns a dog, you're going to end up talking to no one. People want to feel like you're talking specifically to them. You wouldn't talk to, you know, a 20-year-old female with a dog as the same as you would a 60, you know, William, 50-year-old. I don't know actually. Sorry, William. But
right.
You would talk to them completely differently. And so if you try and talk to those two people the same way, you're not really going to get your message across because they're not going to pay attention.
Now we have a question real quick.
Yeah.
That was asked here.
Great.
Can we elaborate on building a mailing list through Facebook? Now, Facebook does have a feature in their Facebook advertising platform where you can create um, a lead capture form. It's terrible, and I never use it. The best option is really to create a landing page that is tied into something that you're promoting on Facebook. And I'll kind of go into, well, I'm going to back up into the email marketing. And Katie, if I jump on anything that you're going to say, sorry.
No,
But
go for it.
with Facebook, there was a time, I would say 7 or 8 years ago, where we could, if we were going to have an event in San Francisco, we could really reach a lot of people organically on Facebook without spending any money. And we would have a lot of likes and shares and views of our ads and promotions. And then obviously Facebook really moved into paid ads. Their algorithms changed quite a bit. And we had to, you know, like most people, to continue to get that kind of interaction, you had to pay for it. And that's okay. It's a matter of making sure, though, that you have as little waste as possible. And that ties into the email marketing, because you can take your email contact list, you can load that into Facebook, you can create a custom audience, and then Facebook's algorithms will use your existing audience to build an audience that has similar interests and likes and demographics as well. So you eliminate waste. But for instance, catching email addresses off of Facebook. So if you were to create an ad with some kind of a special or an incentive or a game or a contest or a trivia, whatever that might be, direct them from Facebook to a landing page. And you can build a landing page. You see them all the time. Most Facebook ads that you click on take you to a landing page that opens, that is mobile friendly and requires collection of some kind of information. You'll see them all the time based on things that you are looking at. You'll get other ads, for instance, for Zoom or for Slack or for HubSpot. If you're a business in any way, you probably see HubSpot Facebook ads because they kind of target everyone that has a business. You don't necessarily want to target everyone. There are some advertising platforms that you build waste into. And when I say waste, I'm not degrading people who are not going to do business with you, but it's just the extra, it's the people that you don't want to target. So if you're advertising on radio, you're advertising to everyone listening to that station at that time. And that is where the strength of your ad is important, because your ad has to catch the people that you want to catch. You can get really close on demographics in radio. If you want to target women 25 to 54, or people that work in offices, you can find the listen at workstations. You can use it to find the demographic, who their listeners are, but then you have to find the way to get your message across. Now, with billboards, it's very similar. You cannot choose who drives by a billboard on the highway. So you're going to have people that see your billboard, that it is not applicable to them, of no interest to them, and that is considered, that's waste. Now, with Facebook, if you just create a custom audience and advertise, and you're just pick dog owners in your city, that is a large audience, and you're still going to need to narrow it down and narrow it down and narrow it down. Putting your existing contact list in is important as well. So I'm kind of jumping on two things. One is using your existing contacts to make your Facebook marketing more effective. The other is using Facebook to add more contacts to that list. So there are things out there. There's a website called Woohoo, and they do online, accessible, mobile-friendly games, like spinning, wheel spin, and what's the other one? Spin the wheel is the one we use a lot. There's Katie, what's the other one that's like not well. Anyway, they're
They
like
pick like a box. You know, they.
gift type thing, and people like those. You can offer discounts or specials if they land on a certain prize or whatever that might be. It's a virtual spin the wheel type thing, and I can share that website with you guys. But you know, that's a way to have people go from Facebook to a landing page where you have that contest set up. In order to spin that wheel, they have to fill out their like an email address and sign up, and then you collect that information for later use. So there's a lot of ways to do that, but the best way on Facebook is to have a landing page set up that is expressly created for lead capture with some kind of incentive, some kind of special, some kind of offer, so people will want to give you that information, or a game or something along that. So I'll look up Woohoo and send that out here on the chat also, because that's a fun little incentive, and if you need help with it, you can ask us and we'll help you set something like that up. Okay, Katie, sorry about that.
And don't be sorry. That's great. I mean, William does have a lot more experience, a lot more hands-on experience with Facebook ads than I do. I've done them before, but it's been a while.
You're an Instagram pro.
I do more. I definitely do more on
I don't
Instagram.
even understand Instagram. And then TikTok. I mean, I'm on there all the time. I don't know what I'm looking at, but I don't advertise on it. I don't even know what it is, actually. Is it a clock? I'm not.
I haven't even touched it.
Go ahead.
I see them when I'm like scrolling Facebook, but
that's
and
what
that's
I
another
really get ahead of the curve on, I think. So.
Well, and that's another thing about social media is people change what social media platform they use all the time, and that's also kind of why you need to know who your target audience is. So you need to know, because you need to know where they are. You know, TikTok I think is fairly younger, and then you've got Snapchat, and then you know Facebook is actually tending to lean towards more of the you know, the older audience, where you know that used to be, you know, college kids, and you know, so it's just changing all the time, and that's why it's important to know like who your target audience is, so you also understand where are they. So yep, so you can William already mentioned the landing page, so that's perfect. Facebook groups. This is a great way for you can have a group, and you can also join groups. You can answer questions. So you'll want to join groups or create groups that are a community of your target audience. And then you can answer questions, because that's really going to demonstrate your knowledge on whatever topic it may be. You know, if you're anywhere, you know, I keep using Dog Trainer because they, you know, they're the ones that they have, like, it's more obvious that they have the knowledge, but then if you're a retail shop owner, you know, you probably know a lot about dog food, a lot more than I do. You know, what is the best dog food for, you know, specific breed or specific type? That's the type of questions that you can answer, and that really demonstrates your knowledge. Facebook pages, it's always good to have one of those, because you can communicate directly with your followers, and it also allows sharing to other potential customers. So if they see something they like on your page, they share it with their followers. You do generate a little bit more of an organic reach. William, did you have anything else on Facebook marketing?
No, and the only thing I will say is groups are a great way to reach people, because groups are still kind of immediate notification to the people who are in the group. You can also communicate more directly with the people who are in the group. Facebook obviously changes a lot in terms of its target audience algorithms. A year ago, I could still choose specific organizations or people who were members of specific organizations in my audience. For instance, I could choose people who liked Pet Sitters International overall. That is no longer a choice. So you're just constantly having to stay ahead of the changes in what the audiences are that you can choose from, and the algorithm that Facebook is always working on and changing and adjusting for various reasons. So you have to be, and they've also added, and which is a good thing, they've added some exclusions. You can no longer exclude certain demographics from audiences. So, for instance, you could potentially exclude LGBT from a Facebook audience up to about a year ago if someone wanted to. And they've eliminated the ability to do things like that. And when they did that, which is a good thing, it also took away some of the ability to narrow down other audience segments that may not be like eliminating someone's, an entire group of people, but it did change the way that you create audiences. So there's always a learning curve. So going to a group and getting people in the group, those rarely change. The people are members of the group, and you can stay in contact with them in the group. There's common interests in the group. The question is, what is the value that you are providing in the group? And that generally, and we'll touch on this when we get into press releases a little bit more, if you're using a group to just kind of advertise, no one's really going to stay in your group. So there's a difference when it comes to providing information that people want to talk about in a group as opposed to just promoting yourself. That rarely, I don't think I've ever seen a group last very long where the group creator or host is just, pitching their own services or business in every post. So that's not really the purpose of a group per se. Now, you can perhaps provide important information or tips or something of interest or other things that will generally keep people more invested and interested in the group. But it's difficult because Facebook is a great tool. It's the best one out there. And except for MySpace, I love that Tom guy. But other than that, it's great. You have, but it is ever changing, and you do have to target it and narrow it down and make sure that you're not spending an exorbitant amount per click or per post engagement. And that is where, it's important to know kind of what you're doing. We're happy to share as much information as possible with you. But again, any of the social media that you choose, you just want to make sure that when you are using it, so if it's groups, that's not really for advertising. If it's advertising, that is advertising, but you have to target people correctly, and you're communicating different messages. So just kind of, and all of that, same thing with Instagram, that is more image-based, less verbiage and more image. And you need to have marketing materials or ads, things that are sized and created properly for each of those mediums. So for instance, with Facebook, if you post an ad on Facebook and you have text in the photo or in the picture that you choose for your post, too much text will flag the ad and it will not run. They don't want a lot of ads like billboards with your phone number and logo and website and all of those things on the image. That will, if they even approve it, if they do, it will still have lower deliverability than if it's just a plain image with no text and the text is in the post. That is the way that they have directed ads to go. That's what they want visually. So you have to kind of work within those guidelines and those sizes and optimal sizes. So anyway, that's just that little piece of it.
Well, and that's good information. Something that a lot of people kind of forget is that Facebook and Instagram, their main objective is to keep their people using their platform happy. So that means, a lot of people don't really like to be sold. I forget who said it, but people they like to buy, but they don't like to be sold. They don't like to be sold.
Oh, I no,
yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, well, and it's something that to keep in mind when you're doing your marketing, and so that's why Facebook and Instagram ads, they're and even like your organic reach is prioritized by how many people are engaging with you. They want to put those people above those who aren't really getting as much engagement. So moving on to Instagram marketing, this is a little bit more in my wheelhouse. Again, the first thing I'll say, use this to build your mailing list. That doesn't mean that every single post needs to be about, sign up for my mailing list. In fact, it shouldn't be, but the main idea should be to get your followers to your email list. You can engage with them a lot better there, keep them more updated. You can do sales, more, let them know what type of services you're offering. And it's another way to engage with them, since repetition is key in all of marketing. You want to make sure to have that. You want to make sure to have that in mind when you're using your Instagram, is that the ultimate goal is to build your mailing list. One way that you can do that is when somebody follows you, send them an email, or send them a direct message and let them know, hey, we've got this offer. Thanks for the follow. This is our offer that we have going on. Or, if you want to sign up for our mailing list, here's the way to do it. On offers, one thing I did just think of that I hadn't put in the webinar is that, sometimes I'll see like 5% off if you sign up for the mailing list. I'm not going to sign up for that. If I see like 20% off, 20% is kind of that threshold, 20% or $20. That's more of the threshold. You can also do free, a free gift. Free gifts do really well, or just free shipping. Free shipping with your order if you sign up for our mailing list. Anything along those lines is going to be a lot more effective than, oh, you get 5% off. It's not really enough incentive to me to give you my email address. You can also use it to reach and engage your audience, I think, better than Facebook. You might have different opinions on that, but you can follow hashtags that are relevant to your industry that your targeted audience is using, and then you can go and engage with them, like their pictures, tell them how cute their dog is, how much their cat looks just like your cat. Anything along those lines. And then they're going to come to your page and see, well, who is this? And they'll follow you. I do not like the strategy of follow for follow. It ends up being a lot of people that aren't actually really interested in you. They're just interested in getting that follower number up, and that's not nearly as important as having an engaged community, which means people who, you can have, 100,000 followers, right? But if none of them are active, engaging with you and actually purchasing from you, they're all worthless, right? I would much rather have 1,000 followers that are actually engaging, because then you'll reach more people that way. And then also purchasing, providing email addresses so that they can, so that you can convert them to customers. Hashtags. One mistake I see all the time on Instagram, and I hate it so much, is that people aren't using hashtags or the right hashtags. You want to make sure that they're ones that your customers would follow. And you also want to make sure that that you're utilizing, I think Instagram allows 30 still. You want to try and use all of those. Do some hashtag research. Check out who your target audience is, what they're using. Let's see, so like Austin dog, like if you're in the Austin area, you might go to hashtag Austin dog and then look at those pictures and see what other hashtags are each one of those people using, and kind of build a list. You don't want to use the same hashtags on every single one, because Instagram can see that as spam sometimes and will actually not show it as well. So it won't show up in people's feed as much. you want to have kind of a rotation. You know, if you can't use all 30, that's fine, but that would kind of be the ultimate goal, is to use up all of the room that it gives you, because it's the way that people are going to find you. People will follow hashtags, so when you post something using that hashtag, they're likely to see you. It's one reason why I like Instagram over Facebook, in my personal opinion. But yeah, so hashtags are very important.
Can I
Go ahead.
So you mentioned something really important, I think, that a lot of people miss, and that is if you are overusing or abusing the hashtags so they're not relevant, you could be penalized. And,
yes.
And I had mentioned about Facebook, you can get penalized for having too much text in your image on your post. And that is something, when we talk about reach and reaching people, it's important to know where you are penalized in all of the various platforms that you are using. So that could be as simple as using the word free or guarantee in the subject line of your email marketing, which words like that generally send something directly to a spam folder. That could be your website. If you do not have proper security on the site, Google will penalize that site. If the site is not mobile friendly, Google will penalize your website. Yesterday, we saw someone's website that we were looking at. They were still using frames. Frames are no longer really a used layout or style. I'm sure everyone remembers frames, where you would have very different boxes of information that you could basically scroll within a website. Those really stopped being utilized a few years ago, and Google will penalize websites that are still using frames. There's a lot of things out there that have basically penalties, and you could be losing potential eyeballs because of that. There's a little hand that went up. I think, is that someone wants to ask a question? I don't know what that means. I'm going to find out. Let's see. You see that? I don't see it. It says lower all hands. Somebody must go in to ask a question, but I don't know how to answer you on the chat, but I will try to figure it out. But that's the question really is, do you have anything that is prohibiting people from getting your message? And that is the kind of the key that you need to look at. So hashtags are one, heavy images with text is another. Same thing with email marketing, and not just in the subject line, but if you're sending out an email that's heavy in imagery with images, or that is all images, or that the images are too big, there's a good chance that that will go to the spam folder. So now you're dealing with a situation with what's happening, you know, with the pandemic and everything that we have happening, where, you know, every single person that you can reach, you should reach. So don't have things that are avoidable in terms of penalizing the reach of an ad or a post or your website or an email that you send. So I just wanted to make sure that we kind of mention that. Those are things that don't cost you anything to fix, but they can cost you if they are not working properly. Okay, I'm done. Are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, all right. No, I don't like talking to the computer. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I understand. I feel the same. Yeah, so that's definitely good information as far as, you know, making sure that you know what's going to penalize you. I didn't put search engine optimization in this webinar because we could probably have an entire webinar just on that alone. But I'm glad that you mentioned and touched on it briefly there. Let's see. So with Instagram marketing, you can also use ads to boost your reach. You don't have to. This is what I like about Instagram, is that if you spend the time, you can you can build a great following and get a lot of customers through that. You can grow it for free. And again, you do that by following hashtags. You do that by going to your target customer.
You kind of are fading out a little bit somehow.
Oh, I am?
Just a little. Sounds like you're in a tunnel now.
Can you hear me better now?
Not really.
I'm not sure why.
Okay, maybe it's just me. I don't know.
Okay. So as far as growing your Instagram for free, it does take time. I mean, you're going to have to make an investment one way or the other. It's either financially or it's going to be with your time. So it just kind of depends on what you have available and how you want to do that. But I do encourage you to engage with your audience regardless. You can follow people who are in your target audience, comment on their pages, like their page, or comment on their pictures, like their pictures, and make sure you're engaging with them beyond just saying, "Here, buy my stuff." All right, William, this is you. You're on press releases.
Right. So I know that we are running really behind here, so I'll try to kind of shoot through this. And Katie will kind of you just want to pop them all up and then I'll hit them. That way you don't have to, I don't know. Yeah, there we go. So press releases, they are still very important, and there we go. And they're still free, but you cannot expect a newspaper, magazine, radio station, television station to share news that you submit to them in the form of a press release if it is just advertising your business. So it has to be newsworthy. The other positive thing about press releases, and it can be the negative thing also, but when a news story is printed about you, it indexes high in Google, also on the Google News feed. So it helps your business get found online. You have the potential to get picked up in other news stories. So if you submit something to, say, a press release distribution website, so PR Urgent is one that I use. PR Newswire is a popular but very expensive one. However, they will often get picked up. I am still much along the belief that you send them yourself directly to media outlets. And a little bit of that is, where do you get your press release? So I'm jumping down to who should get your release, kind of. But when you get contacts for the press, a great resource is to call the local Convention and Visitors Bureau in your city and ask for the most updated and recent media contact list. It is generally a list that they will provide to meeting planners or travel agents or someone that is coming into the city and wants to announce something that is going to be happening. However, you can use that same list, which is generally free, to use and have updated media contacts in your city. So that's usually the news desk contact at the television stations, the programming people in the radio stations, the editors at the major and some of the minor newspapers. And that is a great resource to get a copy of a media contact list. And then the smart thing to do is watch for bounce backs or auto responders where there might be a change in who that contact is. I, to this day, will still email, and I also fax. Some newsrooms still use fax machines to get press releases, and I fax and I email every press release that I write. What is news? It is not a sales pitch. It is something of interest. Now, that doesn't mean that it has to be something dramatic. There are a lot of newsworthy things that you have probably happening. Milestones. Did you just groom your 500th dog? Were you awarded something? Were you recognized for something? Was a client of yours recognized for something? That is interesting. These are that's all news. It's different categories of news, but news outlets are always looking for content, interesting content and interesting information. So having that sent out in a release, that is news. And it can also be something big. You know, you're doing a food drive or a pet food drive, something along those lines. That's clearly news. But what are the other things that about you or that you have going on in your business that is newsworthy? And again, milestones are big. I've been in business 5 years, so local Dallas Pet Groomer celebrates 5th year in business. Those kinds of things, and those have potential to get picked up by local news. Then they get put online, and then that helps your online presence. It helps your search engine optimization. It kind of all ties in. And I know we're running really behind, so I'll just jump on a couple of these. The proper format of a press release is known as the inverted pyramid. What that means is if you're writing a press release, you need to put imagine a pyramid upside down. So the wider portion of the bottom of the pyramid is now the top, and the point is at the bottom. In a press release, the most pertinent information should be at the top, and less important information as you work down to the end of a release. And the reason for that is every outlet has a little bit of a different amount of space that they might allocate for something like this. They may put it online and they will only kind of maybe encapsulate the information. So they will start cutting away at your release. So you want to make sure that it's easy for whoever on the other end at that media outlet that gets that release. It's easy for them to cut those last 2 paragraphs and still have a easy to print press release. They're looking for ease. You want to make their job easier. So if you can provide something that's really ready to print, ready to share, ready to put in the news, then you're going to have a better chance of your press release getting picked up. If you make it easy for them to cut information so it fits whatever format they're going to utilize, then put all of that information at the top and you'll be their friend. And they'll like your press releases more than someone else's that's really long and drawn out, or the information is spread out over several paragraphs. So the top, that first opening part of your press release, that's the most important. Everything should be in that, and then you can elaborate later in the release. But that is kind of the key. And then I've mentioned that it's free if you write them. You get found in searches, potential to get picked up, the inverted pyramid. It's not a sales pitch. They will not print your sales pitch. I can guarantee you that. It could be if it's tied into like something you're offering for like a reason. Like right now they are saying like, news stories are free delivery or half off or things like that are really, really beneficial to people. I mean, they will promote that now. So if you're doing something like that is of benefit, you could get that pushed through. Sending is easy. You can email it, you can fax it, but following up is the hard part. We struggle with that here internally. We send out a press release, and the hard part is calling the producers or calling the news desk or calling the editors and saying, did you get the release? I want to make sure that you got it. If they didn't, is there a better alternative? Should it be sent to someone else? Should I resend it? Should I email it again? It does require some legwork. So if you're sending to more than one market, if you're sending nationally, that's a lot of time and effort, but it will pay off. We talked about legitimate press release material. Think about what those newsworthy things are. Think about those milestones. Think about something that, if you just join the Chamber of Commerce or you've been a member of the Chamber of Commerce for 10 years or whatever that might be, that's newsworthy material. No guarantee that it will get picked up, but send it. And who should get your release? It should be the news media, either in your market or nationally. And again, a great way to get those contacts is the convention and visitors bureaus in those cities. You can purchase those lists as well, or you could, and if you don't have to, I wouldn't. You can also build them by calling and asking all the news stations, who should I send a press release to? Who should I send a press release to? Build your own list. But the key is have that list and send to it. And I have some materials on press releases that I can share as well, and kind of assist with that, so you can follow up with me after the webinar if you have more interest in that. But it is a great way to enhance kind of what you're doing and your presence. Okay, so I got through that pretty quickly, I think. So
yeah, good job.
Well, I'm still behind here, so all right.
Well, and I think press releases are often a forgotten about option, but it's really a great way to reach a lot of people and to get recognized in a way that isn't just like you said, it's not a sales pitch.
And I think people don't realize oftentimes a business doesn't know like what's news, perhaps, and it
True.
doesn't have to be something dramatic or major. There are all kinds of different news stories, feel-good stories, human interest, those are all things that have a place. So what are those things?
Absolutely. Okay, so I did want to go over some recommended tools that you can use, some tools that we've used, and I'm sure that William will have some to add to this list. I know he already mentioned what was it, Woohoo? Yeah. Which also made me think of Hootsuite, which is not on my list here, but as far as website goes, we really like to use WordPress. It's very user-friendly too, so once you have the site installed and ready to go, making edits and changes is really easy. I personally love, as far as e-commerce goes, Shopify. It is super easy. You sign up, you pay a monthly fee. They may have a percentage, and I think it still connects with, it's been a while since I've used it, but I'm pretty sure it still connects with like Square or PayPal, whatever you want to use. But if you are moving more to online e-commerce and you're not very familiar with or not comfortable with technology and how to build a website, Shopify is awesome. There's a lot of help out there for it too. If you have questions, you can Google it, and Shopify, you Google how do I do this on Shopify, and you'll likely find what you need. But it's very easy. You go, you sign up, you pick out your template that you want to use, you put in the information, you add your store, and it's very, very simple to use. Zoom, we're using Zoom right now, so that's something that we've never used it before, but a lot of people rave about it. I'm a part of a few online communities of entrepreneurs. Anytime I ever see anybody ask, what do you use for webinars, it's always Zoom. And it's also a great tool to use for meetings. You can also use it for like one-on-one sessions as well. Lead pages is what we use for those landing pages, those ones where you send a lot of your marketing to that has the one purpose of converting either a lead or into a sale. Google Analytics, you want to make sure that you know where your traffic is coming from, and if it's the right traffic, where are they staying on your website, where are they bouncing, are they going to your homepage and they're leaving right away, you're probably not getting the right audience, or your website is not communicating the value of what you offer. Fiverr.com, kind of got to be careful with this one. It's a freelance site. If you've never heard of it before, it's kind of fun to kind of check out what all is on there. I've seen anything from logo design to we'll sing you happy birthday, or we'll make you there's just tons of different things, and it's called Fiverr because all of it starts at $5. So you can often find some really low rates. Again, you do kind of have to be careful, check out reviews of people to make sure that they are legitimate and they can meet your needs. But it's another one is freelancer.com. So it's a great way to if you already know what you want and you just kind of need to find somebody to carry that out for you. Those can be
those can be good resources, but you kind of need to know exactly what you want so you can guide them and tell them exactly what exactly what you need. William, did you have anything else on recommended tools?
I think there are some great email marketing.
Oh, yes.
Email marketing, Constant Contact is probably the most well-known. However, there are other ones. Clever Reach is one that I utilize. There are some that do not have the deliverability that I would like. I don't use MailChimp. I tried MailChimp. I don't believe that it has the deliverability that Constant Contact has. There are also other ones like ActiveCampaign that you can have your own, what's called an IP address, if you're not familiar with what that is, which is the dedicated internet address, so to speak, for your domain, and you can use your own as opposed to a shared IP, which is what you get when you sign up for like Constant Contact or MailChimp. You're using a shared IP address that they provide, which is great because they keep it pretty clean, but it also is not great because internet service providers and email providers know those IPs, and often those promotional emails, particularly in Gmail, will go to spam or to a promotions folder if that is set up. So you have a little bit of that happening. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. If you do it yourself with your own IP, you could get yourself blacklisted, and then that could be a problem. So, Constant Contact is the safest bet. Clever Reach is a more affordable bet, but I don't really recommend the other ones as much. There's also customer relationship managers. We use one called Monday.com, which we like because it's very visual. However, there's also HubSpot, which is free, and well, there's a lot. Calendly is the other one I would just throw in there. Calendly is a calendar that allows people to book an appointment with you online and set up, or you can send an appointment invitation out as well. So those are the ones that I think we use, and you've kind of covered, and we could go on forever and ever about all the various apps and their benefits and so forth, but those are pretty much the main ones. And then I'll just touch on Google Analytics. If you don't have that installed in your website, if you don't have the search webmaster tools that Google provides for SEO, you are probably not getting the benefit of being on the web that you should. So those are important. And again, with Fiverr, Katie mentioned be careful. That's because you can get burned, not financially per se, because you don't release the money for the project until the project is done. It puts it in an escrow type account, but you can lose a lot of time. There are freelancers on Fiverr and on freelancer.com that create fake, what are they called? Reviews, I guess, and that type of thing. And they seem like they really are able to provide the service that they say they can provide. What ends up happening is it takes longer than you expect. And then when you get whatever it is that you're getting, whether that be a logo or a design or whatever it might be, it's terrible. It's clear that they probably outsourced it a couple of levels away, and then got it back and then to sell it to you. So that's where you get burned, is you need something done, and then you lose that time. You have to start the process all over again. So read those reviews, make sure that it's not the same person all the time. Anybody that has nothing but 5-star reviews across the board, that generally doesn't happen. So, just kind of watch, and before you accept someone's Fiverr offer, look into them a little bit and ask them for examples of some of the work they've done previously, so you can kind of get an example of what they are capable of providing. And I think that's everything.
No, that's definitely a good point about Fiverr. I've myself, I think you have too, William, where
yeah, we've gotten burned a lot. I know, so it's frustrating.
it is. It's very frustrating. I've even paid extra, like, okay, well, this person is charging a little bit more, so they're probably more legitimate. And then, it was terrible. But Fiverr is great about reviewing these things and, not, and returning your money. It does come back as a Fiverr credit.
Yeah, you'll get that back, but
you will get it back.
You don't get the time back.
Right, exactly. It can be a time investment. So good tips there.
I'm going to open this up for anybody that has questions here. So I have to allow people to do so. So give me just 1 second to do that. And then you can also contact us, after the webinar here, and we're happy to, provide some more detailed information that's specific to you. And if it's something, so I've got everybody unmuted here. So if anybody has any questions, just let us know your name and what they are, and we're happy to answer them for you. Okay.
We covered a lot of information, and we went over it pretty quick.
I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, my name is Ethan, and my question is about adding some online training to my website.
Okay.
Are
you a dog trainer, or what kind of training?
Yep, dog trainer.
Got it. Okay.
So once I have the video recorded, my question is about creating a landing page and adding those videos to my website.
Okay, well, the key really with video, I mean, is you obviously making the video and making the videos appealing. You can do that, pretty much with the equipment that you have available to you, a webcam or digital camera type of thing, and make the video. Editing it, if you're capable of doing that yourself, is not the most complicated thing to do. However, that might be something that you need to source out as far as how you want the video edited, or do you want something beyond just standard captions. But once you create those videos, they usually they go on YouTube. You create a YouTube channel, and that's the best place to put your video. Then you'll have the code and links that then you can embed that video on your website, because videos will take a lot of bandwidth, and you don't necessarily want to put that video directly on your website. So host the video on YouTube, which is the standard, and then you can do pretty much whatever you'd like to do with the video. So you can embed that same link from YouTube into your landing page with the videos. You can embed them onto your website. And then, of course, as you get more established with YouTube, you can monetize those videos by making them available for advertising to be placed on them that's generally relevant to what you choose. So it would be pet related of some kind, but that's also a good way to get, not a huge amount of money. You could, but you can monetize those. But, mainly it's making an appealing training video with the tips or whatever it is. And if you're going to sell them, you can hide them behind like a paywall. Or if you want to make just partial videos available for free so they can contact you for the rest. Those are all ways to take those videos and make them kind of accessible or enhance what you're doing, or lead to, okay, I've done step 1, now contact me and we can talk about step 2 and step 3 in the training process, or however that is that you would like to word it.
Okay.
Yeah, and YouTube, if I may, YouTube is really great for that. There's also, if you're wanting to sell it, there's also platforms you can use that are specifically made for online courses. A couple of those are, one is called Course Cats. That one's by David Siteman Garland. He's somebody that I've followed for a really long time. And he
that's what he does. Is he actually, it's called Create Awesome Online Courses. So he has an online course about doing online courses, and he worked with some programmers to do it's called Course Cats. There is also Kajabi, Kajabi, I think, which is kind of more on the expensive side, but it also, I hear lots of raving things. I think you can make your own landing pages and so forth. And then the other one is called Teachable, which is a little bit more affordable. I have not personally used any of these, but all of them have come recommended to me as far as people who make online courses.
Okay.
But does that answer your question? I mean, I know I just dumped a lot of info out there.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I actually have already put some videos on YouTube. I put it as unlisted for now. But what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to create an entire class.
Okay.
Just to substitute for classes that we had to cancel.
Okay, so you're looking.
So I have a couple of ideas to create a few classes, and I'm going to record them in the next few days.
Okay.
And then my question was exactly that: what platform to use? This landing page where people can purchase the class. That's exactly what I was asking. Yeah.
Yeah, and so in that instance, if you put them on YouTube, open to the public or whatever, then yes, then you kind of defeats the purpose of actually having it behind, a paywall, so people can purchase the class. So there are some different options for that. You can just make them private on YouTube and then have your classroom, so to speak, set up so they get access to that after they purchase. So you can contact me if you'd like after this, and I can give you a little more kind of detailed direction on some ways to do that.
Yeah, I would love that.
Okay,
But
without blowing up your website, because if you try to do it all within video hosting on your own site, it is a lot for your site to handle and load. So there are ways, workarounds, and yeah, I'm happy to help you with that.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I have a question regarding rescues. Do you recommend, because you were saying putting stuff on your front page on your website, do you recommend having the donate button on the top banner of the website and in a page itself, or on the front page? Because, a lot of the rescues are really hurting, and, I know a horse rescue that just needs to have money for hay.
Well, in terms of the donate button, this is my thought on that. If it's a legitimate nonprofit or rescue, I would have the donate button at the top and bottom of every page on additional pages. It doesn't have to be in like someone's face, but I would make it everywhere on social media, on emails, on the bottom of the email signature that you send out. If you're a rescue and you send emails out, have a donate button. Never pass up an opportunity to give someone a chance to donate to you. So open as many opportunities for that. So the donate button should really be anywhere they're looking. You should have it in the header, the footer, all the other pages. If someone sends an inquiry through the website, that should redirect to a thank you and also a donate button, and put that everywhere you can, because the more eyeballs, then the more chances that someone will donate to a rescue or a group in need.
And if there's a rescue who has a really horrendous website, the horse rescue that I was talking about, do you know somebody that does website design that could put those up and so that
maybe we do. Now we do offer that now, obviously, and we would be happy to look at that. We're trying to offer any of those services that we can, like our cost as much as possible or very low. But it just needs to be a site that can. If it's a site that needs edited, it might be a little harder. So we're kind of looking at all that on a case by case basis.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you. What other questions do we have? Do we have anyone else with questions?
I don't think so. All right. Well, then you'll get a follow-up kind of email, and then she's going to shoot through some things that we can offer for you. Please be sure to ask us about any of this. You'll get an email. We'll get you a list of all these resources as well. Someone just asked. You know, anything that we can do, we are trying to take what we can offer and try to, we have some things that, you know, we have available that seem to fit some needs. For instance, we have in-house graphic designers and website designers and press release writers and marketers, and we have a server that has the capacity to hold about 1,000 websites with built-in security. You know, there's a lot that we can offer. We are also working on trying to raise funds through Fundable that we can use those to turn around and give to some of the smaller businesses that just really are having a difficult time. And not that we aren't either, but at this point, you know, it's kind of, we all kind of have to get in this together a little bit, you know, or I don't know what things will look like, you know, when this is all over. So that's really the key is, I think, kind of finding who has what resources, how that can, you know, get everyone through. And, you know, that's kind of what we're hoping to do. So please feel free to like follow up with me or Katie, or we can direct you the other, you know, to who in our team that can assist. And, you know, we'll try to do what we can for, you know, as little as we can, if it just covers hard costs on something. But if you want to host your website, if you're paying a lot for monthly hosting, we are offering free website hosting. Like, we'll host it for the next 3 months for you, and then when this is all over, we'll just default to like whatever you're paying now. We'll honor that. So I mean, just ways to free up revenue or any way that you can. We have sub accounts on lead pages that we can create. We have sub account because we're set up as an advertising agency, which I used previously. If I was going to make a TV or radio buy, if you buy as an agency, you save a percentage. So we have all of these agency tools available that we've never really utilized in the traditional sense, but we're trying to make those available now. So there are some things that we can piggyback people into, that kind of thing. So just, you know, I know every situation is different. So if you do need something or have a specific, you know, something you'd like to discuss, you guys just feel free to contact us after the webinar, and we'll talk to you about that.
And when you do if you do your own webinar, make sure if you want people to contact you at the end to add your contact information to the slide so they can see that. I failed to do that here, but we will send you out an email, and you know, don't hesitate to contact us. One thing I do want to really make sure that you guys know we have available is the free initial 15 to 20 minute consultation. You'll work directly with either Ethan or Mark that are on our team. They'll gather some information from you, bring it back to William and I, and as a team with our designers and, you know, our experts that we have on hand and on contact with, we'll come back to you with a plan of action, and you can either use our services or you can do it yourself. You know, this is just something that we want. What's that?
You fell into a hole again a little bit there. So.
Oh no, I don't know why.
I don't know. Weird.
I don't know, but definitely contact us. You know, it's free and there's no risk. That plan of action will include, you know, our rates, what we can do for you. You know, like you see here, we're offering up to 50% off, sometimes more on marketing services. But that plan of action, you can carry that out yourself, or you can use our services. So definitely, you know, if you still have questions, if you still need help, use that, and definitely contact us.
All right. Well, thank you all so much. We truly appreciate it, and for your patience in getting everybody into the webinar. And we hope everyone stays healthy and gets through this.
Yes.
And that we all come out on the other side.
We will.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.